So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make medieval style bracers. I chose to use my bracers for my Celtic Warrior woman costume, which is an original character from my new cosplay book, Cosplaying When You're Broke. So for the bracers, start by taking a measurement of your wrist, and then farther up on your forearm where you want the end of the bracers to sit. And then you'll just draw out a piece on some interfacing, the small measurement and the large measurement there. And I do have a template as a basic guide for this, but you'll have to use it with your measurements, of course. So then just cut that out of the interfacing, and then make sure it fits around your arm when you wrap it up. You want the ends to just be touching. So cut a piece of distressed fabric a little bit larger than the interfacing and lay the interfacing on the wrong side of the fabric. And then you're going to put a little bit of glue along the interfacing and fold the edges of the fabric around it. And just go until you've got all the edges folded around the interfacing all the way around, just like that. And then cut another piece of fabric the same size as the other piece of fabric, so again a little bit bigger than the interfacing, and this time you're just folding the edges down onto themselves just like that. Go all the way around and then pull a little bit of glue along the edge and stick that to the interfacing side of the other piece, and just keep going, putting a little bit of glue along the edges until you've got the whole thing glued down. So the interfacing should be covered on both sides, and again, it's got a nice weight to it with the interfacing inside. So then cut a thin piece of interfacing to use as a strap, cut the edge off at an angle to mimic the bracer part, and trim the far end to make it thinner. And then you're just going to wrap that in a piece of brown distressed fabric. Wrap it all up, and then you're going to lay it on the bracer and sew 2 lines down it to hold it in place. And you go all the way to the end of the bracer. I did this on a machine, but you can also do it by hand. So you go all the way across the bracer and all the way to the end of the strap, and that holds the fabric closed and secures it to the bracer. Then I also poked a hole in the end. I did a second strap. My holes are already in here, but I just used the end of a compass point to poke the holes. You can also do additional holes if you're not sure where you need them to sit. Then take a thin strip of that distressed fabric, no interfacing this time, and that's just going to be a loop. So you want to sew it on as close to the strap as possible. Just sew it right there in place, next to one side of the strap with a few stitches, and then you'll fold it, put a few stitches in the end, the other end of the piece of fabric, put a few stitches in it, and then just bend it over the strap and push the needle down as close to the strap as you can get so that that stays firmly in place. Stick in a few more stitches. It's a little bit difficult to sew this part, but you just want to get them as close to the strap through that little piece of fabric as you can, and that makes a little loop for the end of the strap to go through when you wrap it around your wrist. So then you just want to sew a couple of buckles just a little ways from that loop you just made. A thimble helps a lot with this because you're going through 2 layers of interfacing here, both the strap and the bracer itself, so it's pretty thick to sew through, but put a few stitches around the buckle going through both layers of interfacing. So you can see I did some here and did some here, and it's black thread so you can barely see it, which is good because then it doesn't show up. So there's the whole bracer, and to fasten it you just fold them around, run the buckle through the hole that you drilled. This is why you may need more than one hole. And then just stick the end of the strap through those little loops. And you do that with both of them. And of course, wrap it around your wrist for the completed bracer look. And if you guys want to see how I made the rest of this costume, then check out my new book, Cosplaying When You're Broke, which is currently available for pre-sale. The links are in the description box.